Hey Jeff, Zach, we are talking today about some of the changes in the rules for residential real estate agents. We've seen, and this has been pretty big news for the industry. The practice has been a change from when a home used to be sold or traditionally was sold, a commission of roughly 5 to 6% being split between seller and buyer's agents, with the home seller paying for that. Now we're seeing where sellers will need to decide whether and how much they'll pay to a buyer's broker. Some of your thoughts just on this kind of shakeup we're seeing in the brokerage residential real estate business.
Well, I'm smiling because everyone thinks this is going to make homes more affordable and prices go down because you don't have to pay as much to the brokers. I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I think it could go the other way, where I don't have to pay as much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the price so that I have more commission to pay, so I can find better brokers and better buyers. If I have more money to offer, they're going to bring me better clients. So I think it could have an opposite effect, and I don't know that the needle is going to move much just because it's been so ingrained in our brains that it's 6% forever, that, okay, that guy over there is paying 4. I'm still going to pay 6. That extra 2 points, bring me a better buyer and I'll pay you. I don't know that it's really going to affect the market and be this tremendous shift the way that everyone's kind of like been anticipating.
I'll say it a little differently. I don't think it's actually that. I think to some degree, what's going to occur is now you're actually a seller is forcing a buyer to have to choose contractually in writing who their representative is going to be. I think what's really going to happen from this is you're going to have a weed out of the real estate industry in terms for you're going to have a reduction in agents. There's going to be people who are basically bartenders by day, or they have a day job and then they're kind of moonlighting as real estate agents. And it's going to be harder for them to shift to get contractually obligated to a buyer when nobody knows they're around. So, I think to some degree it will weed it out, but I think the other side is this also kind of speaks to a little bit of the greed as well. It's, that 5 or 6% is now just going to be is really going to be taken by one person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think another reason for that is this adds an extra layer of complexity. I mean, you can do it the old way. You cannot. You can maybe consider representing yourself, how it impacts the listing. So I think having somebody who's really on top of things becomes even more important, and having and somebody who's not so on top of things, they're not going to get the low-hanging fruit so easily
Well, I mean,
anymore.
Yep.
there's other layers to it. The MLS requires you pay a fee to even be able to see the MLS listings. So you're paying a fee for that. You're paying a lawyer to have your document to make sure that your document's correct. And yes, the MLS gives you documents, but the reality is for a real estate agent who's just coming on, it's going to be a lot harder for them to actually gain traction and become successful in the market.
I just would point out one other thing here, and complete sidebar, but you look at Redfin and a few others, they've already been charging 1% for their own agents and paying the 3% on the other side, 4% net. So you've already seen kind of a reduction in fees before it became a law. I still don't see a needle moving very much on this, and I do think people are going to have to work a lot harder.
Well, I think the other side too is maybe this just actually sheds some light on why am I selling a house for 100% of whatever the cost is and paying somebody and only receiving somewhere around 94% of it, right?
Right.
Maybe it just streamlines or actually makes it a true viable market to reduce the cost of commissions.
Yeah, I would also say I think the biggest impact is going to be at the margins. There's going to be a few people that can kind of do it themselves, and they're actually pretty good at doing themselves. And there's going to
Yeah.
be a few people that try to do it themselves, and they're an absolute freaking disaster, and would have been better off just paying somebody. Um, I'm not, I don't think any of us are expecting major swings in home prices or anything out of this, but it's definitely going to make the industry a little more interesting.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the other side of it that may come out of this is you're going to see a rise in sales processing companies that just keep people in line with what they need to do with regards to their contracts, the dates that
Mhm.
they need to respond to stuff by, and it won't be it won't be a percentage of play, but they'll pay somebody a couple $100, couple $1,000 to make sure that they're abiding by their PSA instead of having to pay somebody 1 or 2% just to represent them in the transaction.
Yeah, and I would also be if I was selling a house, I'd be a little bit leery about somebody coming in and leading on undercutting other people. That's often a good way to get a low performer. Um, so I think it's going to be interesting. I don't again see major changes in home pricing, but probably going to be some interesting stories to hear about.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and visit our website, selectfincap.com, to get on our list for our free weekly newsletter and also to see exclusive real estate investment opportunities in the commercial space. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.